Hi, and welcome to MindShifters Radio. Today is Thursday, March the 19th, 2026. Welcome to the show. Welcome, Andrea, Chuck, Melissa, Michael.
Hey, dear heart, looking forward to what unfolds.
Yeah. Okay, well, we will just go ahead and get started. We are on Wake Up Sheet 12. And if you already have your book, it's page 149.
How many wake-up sheets are there in it, sweetie?
15.
It's a great example of how the steps are done and what kind of stuff moves and comes up. It's awesome.
Yeah. Welcome, Susan. Chuck went out, coming back in.
Hi.
How you doing? Are you feeling any better?
Yeah. Yeah, I am. Thank you. Don't sound any better, but I'm getting there.
Good.
How are you?
We're doing good. I've just about got the workbook ready to send to Andrea and Anita and let them kind of go over it and critique it before study groups begin.
That's great.
Yeah, so it just keeps growing. And orders are trickling in. Went to the post office yesterday and had a couple of orders in the mailbox, so that's awesome. And
So we can order from you?
yes.
Oh,
Yeah. You can order directly from me. It's $19.99 plus $8 shipping and handling.
okay.
And yeah. Or you can, and I've got the printed books. I've already mailed out, gosh, I'm not sure, over 200. But so that's exciting. And yeah, Amazon says it's not going to be available for them to sell the paper book until like April the 26th. And what they're doing is waiting to see what kind of interest popped up on the ebook. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah. And then, of course, later then I'll put up, people can also order direct from Book Baby, but either the ebook or the printed book. But anyway, I get a little more commission if you order directly from me.
So the best thing for you would be if we pre-order from Goodreads or something. I don't do Amazon, but any of the, or it would, I mean, it's
Is Goodreads showing it as available right now?
No, they say, I think you can pre-order. Maybe you can't even do that. I'm not sure. Anyway,
I just checked Amazon, Jeanie, and the books are now connected. So when you search for it, both of them show up in one listing. So we got one score yesterday.
Yeah, I went to Books A Million and talked to the manager there, and so I've got a couple of things that I need to do to get it up to the independent bookstores. And one thing that worked out really cool is Gabby had sent me a text yesterday that we don't have the kids yesterday or today. And tomorrow she wanted me to meet her. There's a new local bookstore, and they're doing a fundraiser for the school. And so 10% of every book sold or whatever goes to the school. And I didn't even know this little bookstore existed. And so I'm going to go early tomorrow and talk to them and see, because their website says they do book signings and things like that. So hopefully I can get the book in there too. So it's just a little locally owned store. All right. If nobody has any comments or questions or topic they want to go to, then I will start doing worksheets.
Tell us again, what's the most beneficial way for us to order the book? You get more credit
Yeah, it's kind of a catch-22. Of course, if it's ordered on Amazon, then it gives me ratings on Amazon. If you order it directly from me, I get more commission. But
oh, I see.
So it's kind of a, you give up some of the money to, get a rating on Amazon. So it's a little bit of which way do you need to go. So either way.
But if you don't deal with Amazon, it's definitely better to just go ahead and order it direct from Jeanie.
Yeah. I will do that.
Cool.
Appreciate you.
Anybody that's listening, a case of them, they're only $10 each. They're 32 in a case. And it's $35 shipping and handling. So if you want to give them away, if you've got people you want to share them with, put them in bookstores or schools. That's another way.
$35 in the United States.
Yeah, anywhere in the States.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will move on to Wake Up Sheet 12. Who did I think I was? Busy. I believed busyness proved my value. My goal had been to be needed by others so that I would not be abandoned. Canceling this goal takes me to love, where my worth needs no proof. I, Jeanie, am love. Significant other who shaped this experience, my carbon-based memory self, which holds the unconscious perceptions I have chosen to clean up. This is not the self we truly are. My reality as I perceived it, life was good again, but I was juggling a new home, a small child of 4, a full-time job, and active involvement in a new church. I had also returned to college, but had to quit after the first semester because my schedule was unmanageable. I'm doing this wake-up sheet on my thoughts around needing to do everything perfectly. My feelings, dismayed. My thoughts, me, quit. I'm the superachiever. I never quit. My impulse, to punish myself by continuing to push to do it all. I choose truth and love and willingly move through the symptoms of healing. My goal, to be able to do it all so that I can be perfect and receive approval. I choose to connect to my original being, love, and fully invite in the love of God. I cancel my goal to be able to do it all, and I cancel my goal to be perfect and receive approval. By engaging my breath, I invite Rukha to incline me toward healing. I ask her to restore me to my original nature, love. I ask her to help me keep love present and to assist me in coming into direct, conscious relationship with and removing the dissociated, projected parts of myself. Present awareness. I now feel relief. I see that I was the one who placed the unrealistic demands on myself. When did I violate the goal to do it all, to be perfect and receive approval? I wanted outside approval most of my life. If I am honest here, I still want it. And I expect others to at least do their part to receive my approval. To my carbon-based memory self, I acknowledge us for creating truth and perfect love, and I release the need to do it all. I give myself permission to do only what is reasonable and to give myself time to rest. Closing affirmation, it is safe to rest. I am enough, just as I am, in every moment. Afterthoughts. From 1C, I realize that having to do everything perfectly leads to self-sabotage. From 3, wake-up sheet needed on the so I can goal to be perfect in order to receive approval. From 5A, canceling the goal of doing it all exposes how exhaustion contributed to my remaining stuck, and it opens me to rest in love where my worth needs no proof. Wake-up sheet 13. Who did I think I was? Burdened. Life felt heavy, as though I was carrying responsibility for everyone. My goal had been to rescue others so that I could feel needed. Forgiveness frees me to release what isn't mine and to walk lightly in love. I, Jeanie, am love. Significant other who shaped this experience, my carbon-based memory self, who holds the unconscious perceptions I have chosen to clean up. This is not the self we truly are. my reality as I perceived it. My internal female trauma accelerated to the point where I had to have a hysterectomy. Not only could I never have any more children, but I was left with a physical scar. This was the result of 3 incisions in the same place. This physical scar that my husband, Ron, couldn't get past. Added to that scar were many emotional and mental scars that led to our relationship going down into a downward spiral. Our physical intimacy stopped, then financial issues emerged. Ron's business went into bankruptcy. He felt undermined by my success at my job. I felt I was holding everything together and receiving nothing in return. No intimacy, no loving embrace, no help with the bills. I felt like I was dying under the stress of our dysfunctional lives together. The only plus at that time was our involvement in church, which served as a Band-Aid over a deep wound. I'm doing this wake-up sheet on my carbon-based memories thoughts of guilt and self-blame. My feelings, guilt and self-blame. My thoughts, because I filed for divorce again, I carried tremendous guilt for letting go of our more than 24 years together, for breaking up our family, and for letting our son down. My impulse, to punish by blaming myself for not trying harder. I choose truth and love and willingly move through the symptoms of healing. My goal, I want to be free to take action without blaming myself so that I can feel innocent despite the situation with Ron. I choose to connect to my original being, love, and fully invite in the love of God. I cancel my goal to be free, to take action without blaming myself. And I cancel the goal of feeling blameless despite the situation with Ron. By engaging my breath, I invite Rukha to incline me toward healing. I ask her to restore me to my original nature love. I ask her to help me keep love present and to assist me in coming into direct, conscious relationship with and removing the dissociated, projected parts of myself. Present awareness. I now feel sad. I see that my relationship with Ron distracted me from looking within. If I had had the healing tools I use now, things might have taken a different turn. However, I can release the burdened thoughts of guilt and self-blame. When did I violate that goal? I looked in the wrong places repeatedly, not seeing myself as innocent, and I blamed Ron instead of seeing him as innocent too. To my carbon-based memory self, I acknowledge us for creating truth and perfect love, and I acknowledge you for doing as well as you could in the circumstances. I think that's an error there. To my carbon-based memory self, I acknowledge you for doing as well as you could in the circumstances. I guess that's okay. Closing affirmation. I release the burden of guilt. I am held by God's love. I did my best, and I am free to heal. Afterthoughts. From 1C, I plan to do wake-up sheets on having to do with Ron's part in our situation. From 1D, I will work on accepting that it is time to forgive guilt and accept God's full embrace as that embrace happens inside me. From 1F, it's time to accept that I did my share to keep things together. My guilt and self-blame are my sin. That's what Dr. Michael Ryce calls self-imposed nonsense. From 6, I understand now that God does not change when I mistreat myself. God's embrace and love are there with me for eternity. From 7, as it turned out, my son's father, Ron, and I continued to be a family, though we lived under different roofs. We attended school events together and supported our son in everything that he participated in. I was even Ron's support when he was diagnosed with cancer, and I assisted him prior to his transition, made his final arrangements, and carried out his wishes. Wake up sheet 14. Who did I think I was? A fraud. I felt like a fraud hiding behind masks. My goal had been to maintain control and avoid rejection. Canceling this goal restores authenticity so that I can show up as I am without fear. I, Jeanie, am love. Significant other who shaped this experience. My carbon-based memory self, who holds the unconscious perceptions I've chosen to clean up. This is not the true self that we are. My reality as I perceived it. My son's father, Ron, and I remained friends and attended all school functions together to the point where many people didn't even know we were divorced. I was determined to keep it that way for our son. Ron said he could not afford child support, and I did not press the issue. Since I had advanced in the pharmaceutical industry and was making a good living for Ryan and myself. The church I had invested in for 5 years blamed me for the divorce and turned away from me. I began seeing a psychiatrist, went on antidepressants, took meds to sleep and inhalers to breathe. Outwardly, however, I looked like I had it all together. I'm doing this wake-up sheet on my carbon-based memory and the thought that I had to hide my true feelings. My feelings, lost and lonely. My thoughts, I am alone and hiding my true emotions. I am a fraud. My impulse, not only to put on a false front, but to blame myself for doing so. Number 2, I choose truth and love and willingly move through the symptoms of healing. My goal, to be open with people while letting go of guilt over our situation so that I can be whole and live in truth. I choose to connect to my original being love and fully invite in the love of God. I cancel my goal to be open with people while letting go of guilt over our situation. I also cancel my goal to be whole and live in truth. By engaging my breath, I invite Rukha to incline me toward healing. I ask her to restore me to my original nature, love. I ask her to help me keep love present and to assist me in coming into direct conscious relationship with and removing the dissociated projected parts of myself. Present awareness. I now feel sad. I see that I pushed emotions, feelings, and thoughts down and did everything I could to appear put together while falling apart inside. When did I violate this goal for myself? I repeatedly tried to appear whole and happy rather than being open and honest about how I felt. To my carbon-based memory self, I acknowledge us for creating truth and perfect love, and I hold the space to be willing to live in truth, even if that means exposing my weaknesses. I will seek support as I cannot find my way to health alone. Closing affirmation. I live in truth. I am seen, supported, and healing in love. Afterthoughts from 1C. Now, years later, I can report that I was able gradually to come off all medications as they had made me robotic and sluggish, and because they masked symptoms while failing to cure the disease. I plan to do wake-up sheets on the part that Ron played in the breakup of our marriage, as well as on the church's rejection of me. From 5A, I recognize that I created the rupture between God, myself, and love, which occurred when I took on the belief that I was not worthy. The truth is, I was never alone. I just couldn't see. From 7, coming off medication has allowed me to see and face problems that were always there, but hidden. Even now, I continue to take down the walls that lock me in with my demons. And I'll pause for a minute, see if anybody has any comment or question before we go to the last wake-up sheet. I hope that it's giving a good example, too, that, yes, the first several wake-up sheets were on Cain, but these last ones have all been on my own carbon-based memory and my own thought distortions.
Jeanie,
Yes, ma'am.
this is Susan B. I'm sometimes missing words and I haven't been watching the video. Are you backing away from the microphone every once in a while?
I may be wiggling.
Well, some words are dropped. Maybe other people
Oh,
can hear them all. I can't always get them, but I know where you're going because I know that book pretty well, but I didn't want anybody else to miss some words.
okay. I will consciously stay leaning forward here.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. So, wake up sheet 15. Who did I think I was? At this point, changing. Finally, I came to see that I am not locked in with my false beliefs. My goal had been to cling to the familiar, even when it hurt. Forgiveness opens the door to transformation. I am not my past. I am love in process, always becoming. I, Jeanie, am love. Significant other who shaped this experience. My carbon-based memory self, who holds the unconscious perceptions I have chosen to clean up. This is not the self that we truly are. My reality as I perceived it. When I met Dr. Michael Ryce, he taught me how the mind and body work together and explained that while my mental and emotional problems were within me, they appeared to be triggered by outside circumstances. He had answers I was not getting anywhere else. I am doing this wake-up sheet on my carbon-based memory and realizing that my upsetting thoughts and conclusions are not caused by anything outside of myself. My feelings, excited. Yes, wake-up sheets can be done on positive emotions as well as negative. I'll just pause there to say, anytime you think anything outside of you causes any emotion inside, whether it's good, bad, indifferent, it can be a wake-up sheet. My thoughts, I am beginning the true process of healing and changing. My impulse, none, no desire to punish. And Michael will say that's regulatory speech, so I need to change that one. I choose truth and love and willingly move through the symptoms of healing. My goal, to believe and be open to see what is within me so that I can be the love I was created to be and express. I choose to connect to my original being love and fully invite in the love of God. I cancel my goal to believe and be open to see what is within me. I also cancel my goal to be the love I was created to be and express. By engaging my breath, I invite Rukha to incline me toward healing. I ask her to restore me to my original nature love. I ask her to help me keep love present and to assist me in coming into direct, conscious relationship with and removing the dissociated projected parts of myself. Present awareness. I now feel thankful. I see that when I was truly ready to learn, the teacher arrived. I am aware that both the excitement and the healing come from within, not from an external person, in this case, Michael, just as nothing outside me creates the negative. When did I violate my goal? I violated my goal by always looking outside myself instead of within. To my carbon-based memory self, I acknowledge us for creating truth and perfect love. I offer you gentleness as you allow fear, guilt, rage, and everything unlike love to surface and heal. Closing affirmation. I am open, I am healing, and I am love. Ever changing, ever growing, ever free. Afterthought. From 1C, change is actually up to me. From 6, healing is an inside job. From 7, after corresponding from a distance, we lived 13 hours apart, dating for a year and a half. Michael and I married in 2005. We continue this journey together. We both continue to heal and change. It is awesome to share life with a partner who shares in the process of forgiveness and in creating our eternal lives together. Before moving forward, I invite you to pause with me. The work you have just done is not intellectual, it is lived. It moves through breath, awareness, and release. Take a moment to feel your body. Notice your breath. Notice any softening, any quiet, any openness. What follows are words and definitions. What came before was experience. Both matter, but experience always comes first. And that's the end of the wake-up sheets. And then I included several pages of explanations of terms that are used during the wake-up sheet because, somebody that's not familiar with this work, they may be reading along and not totally get it. And so these are the explanations that I put in there. Actuality, what is present as it is, independent of perception, interpretation, memory, or emotion. Actuality exists only in the present moment and is perceived accurately only when the mind is free of fear or hostility. Affirmation, a conscious statement of truth placed at the end of each wake-up sheet to anchor healing. It integrates the process by reminding the mind and body of the reality of love and wholeness. Balance of parasympathetic and sympathetic states. It's your nervous system balance. The natural healthy state in which neither the sympathetic nor the parasympathetic nervous system dominates. In balance, the body moves fluidly between action and rest, engagement and recovery, stress and relaxation. This state allows appropriate response to life without becoming trapped in chronic survival or withdrawal. Balance supports clear perception, emotional stability, adaptability, and the lived experience of love as their natural state. Breath of life. The immediate life-giving presence that animates awareness, thought, and perception. It's more than oxygen. Breath is the living flow through which love, consciousness, and healing are experienced moment by moment. Carbon-based memory self, or CBM, is the cumulative, inherited, multi-generational database of thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs. It is not the true self, but a learned, conditioned identity that generates perceptions and reactions. Healing work involves recognizing carbon-based memory patterns and releasing them so the true self, as love, can shine through. Choice, the present moment capacity to align with love or to follow carbon-based memory. Choice is not willpower, but awareness of what is active internally and willingness to release what blocks the breath. Demons. In this book, demons are not external beings or supernatural entities. The word refers to internal states of fear, pain, hostility, or dissociated emotional energy stored in the mind and body. These patterns arise from unresolved experiences and distorted perception, not from evil forces outside ourselves. When brought into awareness and met with love through forgiveness, these internal demons lose their power and dissolve. They are not enemies to be fought, but indicators of places within us that are ready to be healed and restored. Dissociation, the act of mentally pulling away from an experience when it is so frightening or intense that one cannot allow feeling its full impact all at once. Temporary disconnection of the mind from what is happening because it is too overwhelming, frightening, or painful to handle in the moment. The dissociated person may feel as if he or she is watching an event from outside the body. It is a survival mechanism, allowing one to escape the inescapable. When used repeatedly, the mind could get into the habit of using this emergency strategy even when safe. Breath and presence restore connection. False self. The false self is the identity constructed from carbon-based memory, conditioned goals, and emotional reactions. It operates through fear, hostility, and defense, mistaking stored perception, I'll get it out, for actuality. So mistaking stored perception for actuality. The false self is not who we are, but a learned survival structure that dissolves as awareness returns to breath and love. Fear and hostility. Internal signals arising from carbon-based memory that indicate misalignment with love. Fear reflects withdrawal or contraction. Hostility reflects attack, control, or punishment. Both distort perception and block breath. Forgiveness. True Aramaic forgiveness is a simple, breath-centered tool that unmasks and removes, through the free and full flow of the breath, anything that does not belong in human physiology. When the blinders of suffering in any form, pain, fear, grief, and/or hostility are removed, truth is revealed, and one is empowered to return to the joy of their true nature, love. Forgiveness is not about pardoning another or oneself, as the Greek misinterpretation tells us we are obligated to do. The word that has been translated as forgive from the Aramaic language is shabag, which literally means to cancel. There are a few minor intricacies to unwind in order to fully understand this ancient technology of the mind. See the definition for shabag. Goal. An often unconscious demand placed on self, others, or life that recruits memory and emotion to shape perception. Goals are not aspirations or intentions, but internal requirements that, when unmet, generate disturbance. God. Throughout this book, I use the word God as a common point of reference, though my chosen name is Yahweh. By this, I mean the Creator, love itself, the originating presence, intelligence, and life force that animates all that exists. Healing. The restoration of alignment with love through the removal of internal interference. Healing is not symptom management, but the dissolution of stored pain. Healing allows breath to flow freely again. Holding space, a sacred act of being fully present in love without judgment, creating an atmosphere of safety and trust that allows healing to unfold naturally. It means remaining grounded and open, offering presence rather than solutions, so that processing in the light of love is more likely to take place. Impulse or desire to punish. An internally generated urge arising from fear or hostility, rooted in carbon-based memory, that seeks relief through blame, control, retaliation, or withdrawal. It is never corrective or healing, but a signal that unresolved pain or a violated goal is active within me. Kuba love. Kuba, the filter in the back of the brain over perceptions, when set, can only produce a loving reality. The quality of our goals are drivers for our perception. When Rukha and Kuba are both active, it is called perfect love, which casts out fear. Kingdom. In the Aramaic understanding, Malkuta does not refer to a place or political realm, but to a state of being. It describes the internal condition of alignment with love, the lived experience of harmony, order, and wholeness that arises when perception is free of fear and hostility. The kingdom is entered not by belief or authority, but by restoring the flow of the breath and living from true self. Object of attention, significant influence or trigger. That which my mind is focused on or resonating with, and therefore recruiting data about. An object of attention is not the cause of my experience, but the stimulus that activates stored memory, goals, and emotions already present within me. Original being, the true essence of who we are, love. This state is unchangeable, whole, and untouched by external influences. Forgiveness and healing reconnect us to this core identity. Parasympathetic dominance, a physiological state in which the body is oriented toward rest, repair, digestion, and restoration. In parasympathetic dominance, breathing is slower and deeper, muscles soften, the heart rate stabilizes, the nervous system signals safety. This state supports healing, emotional regulation, clarity, and the body's natural capacity to repair itself. Parasympathetic dominance often emerges through conscious breathing, presence, and the release of internal stressors. However, we want to balance between this and sympathetic dominance. Perception, the mind's image of reality constructed from carbon-based memory and data and goals. Perception is not reality itself, but a filtered representation influenced by unresolved fear, hostility, or generational patterns. Power person. A power person is someone in our lives who at a given moment was not functioning toward us as love and who had more control over our lives than we did. If we perceived their input as a threat to our very survival, then they were functioning as a power person. Power person dynamic, a repeating pattern where unresolved trauma with a primary authority figure, often from childhood, influences how we relate in or manage adult relationships. These dynamics will control our perceptions, emotions, thoughts, and behaviors until healed. Projection, the experience of internal content, thoughts, emotions, or memories as if they originate outside oneself. Projection takes internal cause and assigns it to an external object or event. Rukha love. Rukha is the filter in the frontal lobe of the brain over intentions. When set, we can only produce a constructive intention. Intentions are the raw material of our goals. This is also the gateway to the mind that was in Christ. When Rukha and Kuba are both active, it is called perfect love, which casts out fear. Reality, the internal experience constructed by the mind from carbon-based memory, goals, and emotional filters. Reality is subjective, often distorted, and reflects stored data rather than actuality itself. Rukha, or Rukha for short, Aramaic term for the feminine elemental force of breath, often mistranslated as Holy Spirit. It represents the direct connection to love, life, and healing. By consciously engaging our breath, we invite Rukha to incline us toward healing, restore us to love, and dissolve dissociated parts of the mind. Self-imposed nonsense. Dr. Michael Rice's creative and playful making of the word sin into an acronym that points to the fact that we are not talking about guilt or condemnation, but about false beliefs we impose on ourselves that block love. Shebag or shabak. You will notice that you have never been upset with anyone unless you hold a goal for them that they refuse to fulfill. Why? Goals drive perception, which are simply constructs of our minds that create the sensations, happiness, pain, etc., that we feel in our bodies. Each goal we set, consciously or unconsciously, recruits from past stored data the specific content that constructs these images and sensations. If corrupt data carrying unresolved pain, is resonated into activity by a goal, the life-giving breath is hijacked and we tend to stop breathing. Breath held cuts off the flow of love, leaving one marinating in the sensations of distorted perception fabricated from the activated corrupt data. Why and how Aramaic forgiveness works. When the goal behind the distortion is canceled, shabak, the errant perception collapses, and the unconscious content in need of healing is exposed to be fully activated conscious breath. Trauma exposed to flowing breath is dissolved. This is first century forgiveness. Sympathetic dominance, a physiological state in which the body is oriented toward survival, mobilization, and protection. In sympathetic dominance, the nervous system prepares for fight, flight, or freeze through increased heart rate, shallow breathing, muscle tension, and heightened vigilance. This state is useful in true emergencies, but becomes disruptive when chronically activated by unresolved stress, fear, or internal conflict. However, we want balance between this and parasympathetic dominance. The true self. We are all, without exception, love, whole, pure, and untouched by external events. Our carbon-based memory self, however, often generates perceptions and reactions rooted in fear, hostility, or sadness, frequently driven by inherited family patterns. Returning to the true self requires exposing and healing those unconscious dynamics so that the distortions of the carbon-based memory no longer govern their behavior. As Yeshua taught, for the true self to live, the false self, the carbon-based memory, must die. Truth, alignment with actuality, what is present as it is, free from distortion of memory, fear, or hostility. Truth is not belief or doctrine, but direct lived awareness. Wake-up sheet, reality management wake-up sheet. A structured forgiveness tool developed by Dr. Michael Ryce to identify painful perceptions, uncover and cancel goals, and release disintegrative energies so that healing and reconnection to love can occur. The wake-up sheet I use in this book is a variation of Dr. Rice's latest version. Yeshua, or Jesus. In Aramaic, Hebrew, Yeshua, and there's different spellings I've got there, were derived from Yehoshua, all of which mean Yahweh saves or delivers. This is a common name in first century Judaism that was transliterated into Greek, then Latin, and then English, where it evolved into Jesus. And I will stop there and see if anybody has any questions before we go to chapter 12. Okay. Chapter 12 is 5 measures. In one of the most powerful breath sessions I have ever experienced, I received a message as clearly as if someone were standing in the room with me. The voice said, "You will expand in 5 measures." I strongly felt that someone was God or Rukha. I had to study each word of this message to grasp their meaning for me. The word expand. In physics terms, to expand means continuously to undergo change, to become larger, or to have a bigger view. In Scripture, the kingdom of God translates from the Aramaic as the kingdom of expansion. A measure. In music, a measure or a bar in a musical score is a single segment of time containing a certain number of beats with vertical lines separating the bars. A composer uses measures to break the music into digestible sections. Since music is usually notated in sections of 4 or 8 measures, a 5th measure might break a pattern, possibly impelling the music forward. In life, one might call a measure a step in a plan or course of action taken to achieve a particular purpose. The number 5. Beyond its mathematical status as a prime number, the numeral 5 holds deep symbolic significance across various belief systems. It is widely understood to represent the 5 human senses and the necessary equilibrium between the physical and spiritual realms. Within numerology and spiritual contexts, the angel number 5 is a sign of divine grace and kindness, encouraging individuals to embrace change for learning important life lessons, symbolizing the concept of God's grace and kindness. I came to understand that by God's grace, therefore, my life lessons and even my harshest struggles had always been intended to lead me to an even richer and abundant life. No matter my situation, I had been expanding toward becoming what I was created to be. I vow to continue to expand even more within the 5 measures. I was later given more details for my expansion into becoming my true being. Below are the explanations of the meaning of the 5 measures. Measure 1 is awareness. Consciousness leading to realization. Remembrance of the loss of being and the invitation to return to love. I had felt snatched from love and was experiencing deep sorrow and terror. By simply becoming aware of my breathing, the veil between the unconscious and the subconscious became more porous. In the inspiring series called Black Cake, one of the characters said, "Love brings the light that will guide you out of your darkest moments." Measure 2 is trust, a faith that all will be well. My trust began building when I began accepting Michael's love that included pointing me toward awareness of the presence of God. Trusting myself followed. Having felt betrayed by those who were supposed to care for me and nurture me, I had locked negative feelings away inside where they festered. Once trust of God and Rukha began to take hold, I was able to allow that trust to grow to include myself and others. This trust cannot but grow stronger. Okay, there's another regulatory speech. Measure 3, will. To decide firmly on something as differentiated from willpower. 5 things that will does is to frame, set, select for immediate attention, maintain, and cancel goals. These were introduced in Scripture as the 5 smooth stones that destroyed Goliath. Michael offers that will's 5 abilities to face our own giants are choice, will, intuition, imagination, and enlightened perception. I will continue to strengthen will in my life. Measure 4, safe, a state of being out of danger, allowing one to move from survival, sympathetic mode, to living, thriving, and dreaming, the parasympathetic mode. Since danger and threat had been ever present in my life, I had remained in freeze mode fairly constantly. Now that I was physically safe, healing meant daring to remember past traumas mentally, emotionally, and in my body. It meant healing to the point of feeling safe to face every atrocity I had experienced and to see how these had fed into the negative opinions I had adopted about myself. It meant bringing to light even situations I had forgotten or pretended had not happened. Over time, I began to feel safe enough to start letting go of my coping strategies. I began to register what was actually happening around me, leading me to feel safe enough to sleep peacefully again. Measure 5, incarnation. In my case, incarnation meant that I could now re-enter my body. I have often asked myself, why can I not remember life before the age of 5? What did I give up? The answer, I'd given up being. Later, during the 3 years that I was being abused, I let go for a second time my capacity to remember. An example of my forgetting, my brother reminded me of a time when he came to my house and played in the creek and had such fun. I did not even recall this event because I was in survival mode. How do I move through my time of measures? First, I am practicing paying attention. I am aware of, listening to, and taking in compliments instead of pushing them aside. I'm paying attention to the stories told by me and others and discerning whether there is any truth within each story. I observe my unconscious choices and decisions and ask, why was that necessary? I practice letting go of judging my choices and behavior. As someone once said, don't sentence yourself with crimes no one is charging you with. And be careful what you tolerate. You're teaching people how to treat you. I practice setting necessary boundaries. and learning to say no. I practice refusing to allow fear to run me. I'm no longer struggling to do everything on my own, applying what God said in 2 Corinthians 20:17. You will not have to fight this battle. Take up your position, stand firm, and see the deliverance of the Lord will give you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. Go out to face them tomorrow, and the Lord will be with you. So even the scriptures have regulatory speech. I will continue paying attention to what my unconscious is trying to show me in night dreams and daydreams. A recent dream showed me that I had come to a city to help build it up and get it going as it was about to disappear. After the job was complete, I was saying goodbye to a group of people before heading to the airport. I was crying, wanting someone to ask me to stay, but no one did. Nobody cared if I left. I had fulfilled the purpose that they had for me, and I was no longer needed. I woke up crying, thinking, in this lifetime, no one ever asked me to stay, or cared if I left, or missed me when I was gone. Nobody ever made space for me to feel at home, or really wanted me, except for what I could do for them. Once fully awake, I reminded myself that I was important enough for the Creator to breathe life into me and keep space for me. He wants me because I am His, not because of what I can do, I told myself. At one point, we went to the movie of A.A. Milne's, his movie Christopher Robin. The 100-acre wood, where the characters live, represents adventure in life. Pooh is innocent and distractible. Eeyore is depressed. Piglet is anxious. Rabbit is obsessive-compulsive. Tigger is hyperactive. Al is wise and yet dyslexic. In the movie, Christopher Robin is grown up and his life is a mess. He says, I am not who I used to be. I am lost. Pooh comes to help him rediscover joy and says, you need to remember who you are. I realized that I am all of his characters lost in the 100-acre wood. Such wisdom in a child's story. It invited me to remember who I am and to return to the being that I was created to be, which is love. I will find my way. In the chapter on Healing Generations, it's a chapter that's titled that, I quoted from A Course in Miracles, lesson 153, in my defenselessness, my safety lies. This deserves repeating. Defenselessness is strength. It testifies to recognition of the Christ in you. Perhaps you will recall that the text maintains that choice is always made between Christ's strength and your own weakness, seen apart from Him. We clothe ourselves in Christ's strength as we prepare to meet the day. We rise up strong in Christ and let our weakness disappear as we remember that His strength abides in us. We will remind ourselves that He remains beside us through the day and never leaves our weakness unsupported by His strength. We call upon His strength each time we feel the threat of our defenses undermine our certainty of purpose. We will pause a moment as He tells us, I am here. Like coming home, there may be awkward moments when we remember and actually incarnate this human form again. Once the distorted thoughts are forgiven, all that remains is acceptance and love. I chose to hide my memories of abusive events away into my unconscious, where they remained until I felt safe enough to have a look at them. Dr. Ryce assured me that since I actually survived those events, I need not fear bringing them forth now. He often says, you survive the events themselves, so you will survive them, bringing them forward. Life did deliver hard things to me years ago. Yet to hold on to fear and anger and resentment only hurts me. I will do my inner work toward healing, one day at a time. No, one step at a time. Or better yet, one breath at a time. I choose love. A powerful illustration of why we choose not to retain anger and resentment can be found in the film called Amish Grace, based on a true story in which a man named Charlie entered an Amish school and shot 10 girls before killing himself. 5 of the girls died, as did Charlie. One mother later told another, I want to scream at the world, but more than that, I don't want to make my heart a battleground between hate and love. It hurts too much. We've suffered enough damage. We must choose love. The film goes on to recount group sessions that were held for the grieving families. Charlie's widow attended them, and she told of how she could not understand why everyone was so kind after what her husband had done. One father told her, our forgiveness isn't about Charlie. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't even mean a pardon. We know Charlie will stand before God, but if we hold on to anger and resentment, then it is ourselves who are being punished.
Breathing with you, sweetheart. Everybody.
A mother then responded, it is true. Every morning when I wake, I expect to hear the girls singing together as they do their chores. The silence reminds me they're gone. I become so full of anger, I can hardly breathe. And I offer that anger up to God, and I forgive. Sometimes I have to do it again in an hour, and again an hour after that. But if I did not do that, I don't know how I would ever breathe again. By God's grace and through the breath and with true forgiveness, I walk the path of 5 measures. I allow love to guide each measure into living expression within me. Awareness awakens me. Trust steadies me. Will aligns me. Safety grounds me. Incarnation expresses love through me. And I'll stop there. And then what we have left is the epilogue and the afterword. So does anybody have any comment or question before we go?
Just a comment of thank you, how you put it all together, sweetie.
Thank you. Well, everybody have a good night, and we will see you again tomorrow.